In this session, you're going to explore a key concept in identity management that often gets overlooked, but is absolutely essential in modern cloud environments, which is workload identities. By the end of this lecture, you'll clearly understand what workload identities are, where they're used, and how they fit into Microsoft Entra ID. You're already familiar with how users, like yourself, sign in to access apps, services, and resources. But have you ever thought about how automated systems, scripts, and applications operate behind the scenes? They don't have a person typing in credentials, yet they still need to authenticate and function. That's where workload identities come in. A workload identity is a special kind of digital identity that you assign to a non-human actor. This could be an application that your team developed or adopted to integrate with your environment. That app needs an identity to securely call APIs or retrieve data. You might also use background services, automated systems running continuously without human interaction. Whether it's monitoring, syncing, or processing, these services rely on workload identities to access what they need. Then there are automation scripts. When you run PowerShell scripts or deployment pipelines, you're letting code take action on your behalf. These scripts often require identities to authenticate with systems and carry out tasks. Finally, you may encounter APIs or daemons that need to connect across systems, tenants, or environments. These silent workers also need workload identities to perform their duties reliably and securely. In essence, these identities let your applications and services interact with resources just like users do, but without anyone having to log in. They're essential for keeping your digital ecosystem running smoothly and autonomously. When you're working with workload identities in Microsoft Entra ID, you'll typically come across three essential components. Each one plays a unique role in how non-human identities operate within your environment. You begin by registering an application in Entra ID. This is your starting point for enabling the app to interact with the Microsoft Identity Platform. During registration, you define how the app integrates, setting up details like permissions, redirect URIs, and other configuration metadata. This registration is what establishes the app's identity and its access pathways. Once you complete the app registration, Entra ID automatically creates a service principal in your tenant. This is the actual identity that acts on behalf of the app. It's what gets assigned permissions and roles, allowing the app to perform tasks just like a user would. Think of it as the operational identity of your application inside the tenant. If you're working with Azure services like virtual machines, functions, or logic apps, you can take advantage of managed identities. These are Azure native identities that don't require you to handle any credentials manually. You have two options: a system-assigned identity, which is tied to a specific resource and disappears when the resource is deleted, or a user-assigned identity, which you can create and reuse across multiple resources. Azure handles the rest, so you can focus on functionality, not identity maintenance. You need workload identities because they allow your applications to securely access APIs, databases, storage accounts, and other services, either on your behalf or independently. Instead of relying on a user to sign in, the app can authenticate and operate on its own. They're also essential when you use automation tools like deployment pipelines or background scripts. With workload identities, these tools can authenticate and perform tasks without requiring any human to intervene. This means you can scale your operations without manually managing credentials. Workload identities also help you connect systems across different cloud environments or tenants. Whether you're integrating third-party services or enabling communication between internal apps, workload identities ensure those interactions remain seamless and secure. You can think of these identities as silent operators in your environment. They don't need attention, but they work continuously behind the scenes to keep your cloud systems functioning smoothly. So, what's your key takeaway? Workload identities let your apps, services, and automation tools securely access resources and operate without human involvement. They're essential for enabling seamless automation, cross-system integration, and background operations in your cloud environment. Think of them as non-human team members silently keeping everything running.